To this video. So in this video, I'll be showing us how to use these four string functions in Tableau. The first one is a split function, followed by replace, followed by the starts with and the ends with function. Let's quickly go into our sheet. So for sheet 1, I'm going to bring in the customer name to the rows. And here we have a list of all customers. So if you want to get the first and the second name of the customer, I'll go with the split function. So here's the split function 1. And there's a reason why I labeled this split function 1. This returns the customer's first name into the tab. So what's in this function? So I'll open this and let's edit the formula. So how to use this is by saying split, then you put the string, then the substring you want to split by, and 1. So because I know that the customer name is separated by a space, I decided to split on space. That's the delimiter that I want to split it by. If I want to split it on an alphabet, for example, an alphabet D, which is going to distort it, it's still going to work. But this part of it is going to return the first part of the function for me, of all the splits for me. So let's go about doing the D separation. Let me duplicate that function and you would see what it's going to look like. So I'm going to edit it and I'm saying split on any alphabet that has D and returns the first one. I'll hit apply and OK. So I'm going to drag the function split function copy in there. You can see that whichever one that does not have a D alphabet in there, it's not going to be splitted. But because this one has D, it's splitted on D and returned the first part of it, which is A, and goes on and on. So if I decide to edit that function and make sure that I return maybe, for example, the second split or the third split, let's assume there's a third split in there for those ones that have multiple D's in there. You can see that it's not returning any value for me. And let's look at this one. Interestingly, there is one that has a return. So it has two D's in there. So the first part will be AN, the second part will be GE, BO, and the third part is E. Let's see how this returns the first, second, and third parts for each of them. Let's manipulate the function and say return the second part, and let's see what this brings. So let's go to the one that returned the E. This is it, the and D get bold. So you can see that the second part after the D as unsplitted is the middle part. Okay, and the third part is the E. So basically it's splitting. This is the first one is split, this is the second, then after splitting again there's the third. So that's the logic with that function splits, called splits. So I'm going to delete that and we've seen how it works. So I'm going to drag in the split function 2 and this is return the second part of the split for me. And there we go, we have the first and second name in our tab. So the next function I'll be going to is the replace function. And I have it here created. So I'm going to bring it into the visualization. Now, this is now in our view. What I did in that formula was to replace every space with an hyphen. So let's go directly into the formula and see what it entails. So replace function keyword followed by the substring, followed by the string, not the substring. The string is a customer name. The substring we want to split on, or we want to be replacing, sorry, we want to replace, not split. The string we want to be replacing and what we're replacing is with. So I'm replacing every space in customer name with an hyphen. If I decide to replace it with a full stop, this is what it's going to look like. You can see that everything has dots in there. So I'll just leave it as space, as an hyphen. So the next function we'll be going into is the starts with. So this is a Boolean function. So it's going to return true or false for everything that we're going to be using it for. So that the output is either true or false. So let me bring in that starts with function. So we'll go to the S. Yes, there we have it. And I'm going to bring it into the view. So you can see some of them have no in there because they do not have what I specified. So if you notice, I specified B because all these ones return the value. Without much ado, let's just go into that formula and see what it entails. Like I said earlier, it's going to return true or false, but you can see it's returning the name. What did I do? I use a conditional statement with it. So if starts with, because starts with is already true, so we don't need to compare it again to give us a boolean output. So if starts with, that's a keyword, followed by the string you want to use, and if that string starts with B, then give me the customer name. I can decide to return anything. I can return the order number, or the ID, that's or the ID, or the name, product name, whatever. Let's just see how that works. Let's just see product name. So this makes it even more usable. You can see it returns the product name, so not necessarily the value or the customer name that we used in the formula. Cool. So that's how the starts with works, and if it doesn't start with it, it's going to give us no. And we can also use as filter when it's in a boolean form or whatever. So likewise, the ends with work in similar manner. So I'm going to bring in the ends with into the view as well. I said ends with, you can see S will be the ends with there. All of other ones returns no. You can decide to say, if it's not found, you can decide to say return not found. It doesn't have to be no. I can decide to say else return a string. Okay, because even this output is returning a string, so I'm fine using a string. I will just say not found. So be mindful of words. Of course, there will always be a string because it's a string function. So not found, and I'm going to close it. So it's going to replace all those no and say not found in our formula. So yeah, are those interesting formulas you can use to manipulate your string. You can decide to revert to the original one using the replace function within this formula, and you can decide to utilize them all together. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.